Good afternoon, everyone. This is Reverend Sam with Living in Love and Grace, also co-pastor at Amazing Love Sanctuary here in Arvada, Colorado. So anyway, I'm glad you're here. It's a Thursday. I thought I would jump on here because it looks like we're going to get a weekend full of snow here in Colorado, and I wanted to make sure I got this done and got into my office and get this out for you folks, and hope that it's a blessing to you throughout the weekend. So, and then we'll be, of course, back on Sunday for Advent, the third Sunday of Advent, and we'll light the Advent candle, and we're going to talk a little more about love. So let me start with 1 Corinthians 13. This is the love chapter, and I'm going to read from the Passion Translation, and I hope it blesses you. Love is large and incredibly patient. Love is gentle and consistently kind to all. It refuses to be jealous when blessings come to someone else. Love does not brag about one's achievements nor inflate its own importance. Love does not traffic in shame and disrespect, nor selfishly seek its own honor. Love is not easily irritated or quick to take offense. Love joyfully celebrates honesty and finds no delight in what is wrong. Love is a safe place of shelter, for it never stops believing the best for others. Love never takes failure as defeat, for it never gives up. Love never stops loving. Until then, there are three things that remain: faith, hope, and love, yet love surpasses them all. So above all else, let love be the beautiful prize for which you run. I really like that. It really stands out. A couple of things that just jump out at me all the time. Every time I read it, and I read it almost every day, it really stands out for me. Love is gentle. It refuses to be jealous when blessings come to someone else. Yikes. You ever been watching or been around, and you've been around other people and you see that, man, things are just happening for them. Everything's in the right place. Everything looks good. Everything's great. Man, just aren't they the luckiest people in the world? Well, sometimes we don't know what it took to get to that place. So love is not jealous when love does not brag about one's own achievements, or love refuses to be jealous when blessings come to someone else. And the last one that I want to read: love never takes failure as defeat, for it never gives up. Love never gives up. Man, we need so much more of that today in the world that we live in. We're so consumed with the lack of love. It's almost like we don't even understand what love really is and what it means. So, long time ago, I pastored a little church, was a pastor of a little church in Blooming Prairie, Minnesota. I don't know if anybody knows where that's at, but if you do, great. It's a little town south of the Twin Cities. And I think we were there for 3 or 4 years, something like that. But when I got there, the people in the church were reading this book, Love. Do we read there? I got Love, Acceptance, and Forgiveness. Love, Acceptance, and Forgiveness. It's an older book. In fact, the pastor that wrote it in 1970. 1989 was the first printing. And I have a bunch of these all over the place. I always order them. I give them away. Anytime I'm talking with a pastor or a friend of mine who's struggling, I always like, hey, I got a book for you. Get this book. So I every time I get onto, go into a used bookstore or I get onto a used book site, I order them because they're, at some point they're going to probably not be in print anymore. But anyway, I love this. I read it every year. And then I read it throughout the year. This little book has influenced my life for over 30, my ministry and my life for over 30 years. Love, Acceptance, and Forgiveness by Pastor Jerry Cook. He's not even alive anymore. But he wrote a great book, and I read it, and it has been my guide. There's not a year that goes by that I don't read it, and it means a lot to me. And Pastor Cook, Jerry Cook, really tried to live this out. And the church, the reason I brought up with the church, that when I got there to this church, they were doing this. They were practicing it or trying to. I'm not saying it's easy. There's no 10 steps and it works. It's going to cost you emotions. It's going to cost you your passion. It's going to cost you. But that's what love is all about. It's going to cost you. It's not easy. Spiritual love, divine love is not an easy way to walk in your life. So anyway, let me read a story. This one's about acceptance. See, we can always talk about love, but love, he says, is acceptance in action. Or acceptance is love in action. So this is going to be the hardest one. But listen to this. I love this. A woman came to me one day and said she was going to have to stop having Bible studies in her home. That's too bad, I said. Why? And she goes, well, these people are coming and smoking in our house. So I asked, puzzled. It's stinking up our new drapes, she said. I was beginning to get the picture. Do you want sterile drapes, I asked, or do you want to expose hurting people to divine love? Love means accepting people the way they are for God's sake, for Jesus' sake, for Christ's sake. Jesus hung around with sinners, and if we're too holy to allow people to blow smoke in our faces, then we're holier than Jesus was. He didn't isolate himself in the synagogue. In fact, he mixed with sinners so much that the self-righteous got upset about it. He's friendly with some very questionable people, they said. And Jesus replied, yes, because I didn't come to minister to you, religious leaders. Isn't that fantastic? Jesus spent his time with dirty, filthy, stinking, broken people, just like you and me. When people find someone who will love them and accept them, you won't be able to keep people away. People are looking for that. People want that. They need that in their lives. Why do they go to a bar? They're looking for somebody maybe that will just listen to them. So they get drunk and blow all their problems out on the bartender. He cries along with them and laughs along with them. And then he says, okay, it's 2:00, got to go home. So they stagger out and are back the next night for the same thing. What are they looking for? They're looking for love and acceptance. But they can't come to the church because the church doesn't like drunks. A young man phoned me early one morning and said, I'm going to commit suicide. And I said, why are you talking to me? And he said, because I don't want to do it, but I don't know what else to do. I'm a heroin addict, and last night I nearly killed a man. He told me the circumstances, how he'd been stopped from killing this man. And he said, I'm afraid to go home. I'm afraid to do anything. I'm totally out of control, and the only thing I know to do is to end my life. I asked him if we could get together. No way, he said. I called a pastor a few months ago, and he told me to come by his office, and when I got there, he had the sheriff waiting to pick me up. And I spent the next 6 months in jail. I made up my mind that I wasn't about to go to another creep preacher. My heart broke. What could I do? I said, look, I'll go to my office right now. Give me 15 minutes and then you drive by the church until you're satisfied that no one else is around. And I'll stay there for 3 hours. And if at any time during those 3 hours you want to risk coming in, I'll be there. I'll be the only one there. I waited at the church 2.5 hours. And finally I heard the front door open. And then a knock on my office. And I let him in. The heartbreaking question is this. Why hadn't he found love and acceptance before in the one place on earth that's supposed to know how to love? So to tell you how dated this book is, I know churches that have split because people had long hair. Long hair and bare feet. They were in the wrong place. Does it really matter? The church should state this. We are going to love and accept people. And if you don't want to love people, you're in the wrong place. Because the church is going to love people. Unreserved acceptance of people should be a habit with us. There's no other way to get close enough to people to help them at the level of their deepest needs. And when we cultivate the habit of accepting people, they open up to us. They like us. They trust us instinctively. I was at the county courthouse getting a passport one day when I spotted a young couple I recognized as being from our church. I asked what they were doing and discovered that they were getting a marriage license. Well, Pastor, the young man said, we've been living together for 4 years now, and we figured we might as well do it right. Say, I forgot to bring anyone along. Would you mind being a witness for us? Now, this young man does not have a particularly soft voice, and there were about 25 people in that office. And for some reason, the whole room suddenly became very quiet. And I felt that every eye in the place was on me. A pastor who had just been identified as knowing this young couple were living together. What was I to do? Say to the guy, shh, don't let anybody hear you. Or give a little sermon of rebuke just so everyone would know I disapproved of their living situation. Hey, that's fantastic, I said. You're getting married? I signed as their witness. I accepted that brother. The point is, though, I had accepted him long before this encounter. And my acceptance was so solid that he wasn't afraid to tell me the truth. I can remember a day in my ministry when a person in this situation, seeing me in there, would have slipped away to come back after I was gone. Because we are accepted in the beloved, we must be accepting of the beloved. I can't give up on you until God gives up on you, and he won't. We're safe with God, and we've got to be safe with one another. I've got to be safe with my brothers and sisters. I've got to be able to know that I can blow it and still be loved. I'm only human, and you have no idea how human I am. You little realize the weakness and the frailty of the man who lives in this frame, but I know. I contend with it every day. I'm just mud as you are. I've got to be able to fail and still be loved and accepted. I simply cannot live with rejection. And that's not because I'm on an ego trip. It's because I'm a human being. That is a powerful, powerful passage. When Jerry Cook wrote this, one of the criticisms he got for writing this book was he was told that his church was just a bunch of garbage collectors. What a powerful story. And there's so much more to that. And we just don't realize how important love is. Now, we have a church here in Arvada, Amazing Love Sanctuary. Sadly, we haven't been able to, we've chosen not to open the doors during the pandemic because we care about people. And it breaks my heart because I feel like there are people out there that need us. And every once in a while, somebody sneaks in, not wearing a mask, not doing all the things we think they should do and told to do. And we just talk to them we just love them. We just love them, no matter who they are, what they are, how they are, what they say, we love them. And someday this is all going to be over and we're going to be back in the swing of things and loving people in our chapel. But I love this book. If you want one and you can't afford one, let me know. Email me. And I'll make sure you get one. It's that important to me. I still read it every single year. There isn't a time that I don't read it. I'll put up my email address right here. Right there. Just email me. Tell me, Reverend Sam, I want a copy of that book, but I can't afford it. I'll make sure you get it. My challenge for you and I is to learn how to demonstrate and give love. How to show love. How to show love and acceptance. Because it's powerful. That's the love in action. That somebody could walk into your life and come into your life and they don't have to measure up to you or your standards or expectations. You're just going to love them. So every time I'm done with this broadcast, I always read the Forever Love Commitment. And Jerry Cook wrote that and read that. It's in his book to everyone that he had contact with. He tells a story when he was talking with the broken pastor and read that to him. And some people just could not believe that he was going to love them. So yeah, I would much rather have a church. One of his criticisms was that he became a church filled with broken down people, broken down ministers, broken down human beings. He had a church that people criticized and said he was the garbage collector of churches in Kirkland, Washington. I can't tell you how important love is. Sharing love, ministering love, giving love in that sense of total acceptance where people can come and be themselves. They can come and be themselves. Because that's what Jesus did. He hung around with people that nobody hung around with. He ate dinner with them. He drank with them. He walked with them. He talked with them. He celebrated at their life events, at their weddings. He hung around with some pretty rough, probably rowdy fishermen. And when the time was right, he said, "Follow me." What is ministry supposed to be like? Some people think it's all about speaking to big crowds, writing a best-selling book. I've seen so many pastors so obsessed with writing books. Their whole life has been that. You can put people's lives in a book, in a story. That's all it is. There are times I wished I was that prolific writer and storyteller. I'm just a pastor. Said that 2 days ago. I'm just a pastor. I would much rather sit here, put my arm around you, and tell you how much I love you and appreciate you and care about you. That's my story. So follow me. Follow me. And let's go out there and love people. Let's put the hate aside. Let's put the bitterness aside. And let's love people. You can write your book. I'm not putting anybody down. Write your book. Tell your story. Preach to your crowds. I found myself this morning reading an article about a pastor of a large church in New York who was fired and fallen. And he was all these movie stars had gone to his church, and another big movie star, after he was fired from his church, paid for the guy for him and his wife to live in a home while he's kind of getting his life together and figuring out what he's going to do. And this movie star paid his rent at $16,000 a month. And I found myself getting angry. I found myself getting bitter and going, why? This guy doesn't deserve that. And I realized to myself, I'm a broken human being. I'm a broken human being. Who am I to judge? If he walked into my office today, I'd love him. I would love him. I don't know what that's like for you. Sometimes it gets really difficult for me to watch what's happening all around us, because I think love is that important. And there's such a need and demand for love in the world we live in. And it's my challenge, it's my calling to come here, and I get on this little broadcast to say, let's love each other. By this, All men will know that you are my followers because you love each other. So that's my challenge for us today, is to discover again love in our lives. Pursue love. Pursue grace. It's not always the easiest. It's not the easiest path. There will be more difficult paths. There will be easier paths. It's easier to go, well, not that person and not that person, and I don't want that person in my life. Or that person just takes up way too much time. We've been called to love. Love. It's acceptance in action. So instead of spending so much time trying to figure out how to separate and how to weed out the people that we don't accept, I'm going to choose to follow Jesus and learn to practice acceptance in my life. And I encourage you to do that with me. So let me read the Forever Love Commitment. And this was written by Pastor Jerry Cook. And I read it every day. This is how I want my life to be. It's not that easy. There are days I mess up every single one of these points. With the people I've loved the most, with the people I'm closest to, I fail. But this is my goal. It's my passion. And I want to share that with you. And if we walk this together, it makes it a lot easier. The Forever Love Commitment. I want you to know that I am committed to you. You will never knowingly suffer at my hands. I will never say or do anything knowingly to hurt you. I will always, in every circumstance, seek to help you and support you. If you're down and I can lift you up, I'll do that. Anything that I have that you need, I'll share it with you. And if need be, I'll give it to you. No matter what I find out about you, no matter what happens in the future, good or bad, my love commitment to you will never change. And there's nothing you can do about it. You don't have to respond. I love you. And that's what that means. So wherever you're at today, I encourage you to share this video, share this ministry, get it out there. Let people know they're going to come in here and there is no judgment. There's no criticism. Our work and our goal is to love you just the way you are, just the way you were created. You don't have to measure up. You don't have to hide your failures or your struggles. We will love you. I will love you. That's my calling as a pastor. I hope you have a great day. Have a great Thursday. I hope you're blessed and that you have a wonderful day ahead of you, what's left of it. And I know you'll have a great day. Don't forget, if you want this book and you can't afford it, email me. I'll put it up there again and just say, hey, Reverend Sam, I want that book. I got them. There may not be in the best condition. They may have been read 100 times over. I still have the original one I got from Blooming Prairie, Minnesota. I also have it on my Kindle. So Anyway, I encourage you to do that. So it's Love, Acceptance, and Forgiveness by Jerry Cook. If you want that, let me know. If you have any other needs in your life, let us know, and we will certainly always be available to pray with you and to support you. So share this video, get it out there, support this little ministry here, Living in Love and Grace here in Arvada, Colorado. I hope you have a great day. God bless. I love you.